and things is that usually a field gets invented, this methodological advance happens, there's a bunch of people involved, they're kind of intellectually entrepreneurial, they build the field. Then people work in that field for many academic generations. By generation number 5 or something, nobody thinks about the foundations anymore. If you talk to the people who built the field originally and you say, hey, why does it work that way? Why does it work? Say, well, we think it works that way. I'm not absolutely sure. It might be a different way. You go to the sort of 5th academic generation, it's kind of, well, of course it works that way. It's always worked that way. It's in the textbooks that way.
Right.
There's no possibility of something different. So one of the things that I've found is kind of a little bit of a trick for doing research in a sense is often if you go back to the foundations, there's a lot of stuff there that is still kind of exposed and unresolved. And if you're 50 years later, for example, the methods that now exist from other places will often allow you to make progress on those foundations in a way that absolutely wasn't possible when they were first laid down. And so the people in those fields will be like, you can't work on those foundations. They were laid down 50 years ago, 100 years ago, whatever. And it's like, and so it's a little shocking at some level, but it's also actually, it's often easier to do that than to go all the way up the tower of all the stuff that's been built in the last 100 years, understand all of that, and then try and add a little piece at the top. That's a more difficult thing to do sometimes. And if you can make a foundational change, the whole tower gets shifted. Of course, people may be very resistant to shifting the tower, but that's a different issue. But there's certainly, in terms of personal satisfaction of what one does, it can be pretty nice. I think, it really helps in a lot of these things, the thinking, research, whatever, having some confidence that the things, that you might just be able to figure it out is important. And I don't know, different people get that confidence in different ways. And some people, unfortunately, never get that confidence that they can just dig in and figure stuff out. But I think that's a valuable thing to try to achieve, so to speak. And I think, I don't know whether people who, do the exercises, they do great in the exercise. I think some people come away from that with the confidence that they can figure things out. And other people come away from that having been sort of trained to only run in this track. And if somebody shows them something off that track, they freak out. So,